getting ready to make a little bit of brown buttered salmon and parsnip hash, but before we do, why don't we sit down for a moment? Let's talk about some of those what ifs, and in an effort to make the RV experience a lot more enjoyable, safer, and a little more predictable. Let's go inside, it's cold out here.
This is Yeti at Large, a channel focused on making the most out of what you got, no matter where you're at. Now that you're here, let's go.
W.C. Fields said never follow children or pets. He didn't say anything about an amaryllis that was taller than me. So it's RV show season. The big super show is taking place in Florida right now. A lot of people are buying RVs. I'm seeing it show up in my Facebook feed, and they look excited. Everybody's happy. And I, for one, am a firm believer in the product I'm sitting in right now. This is our Alliance Avenue 32 RLS. I'm a different kind of shopper, so I didn't buy mine at a show. We got a good deal, drove a hard bargain, and we are coming up on our 5-6 month mark living in it full time, and we are happy. There are a lot of questions as a new RV owner you need to ask, the what if question. The off season is the time to ask those questions and to scenario, to war game the what if. It's a Sunday morning, and so we started asking ourselves several of those what if questions over coffee. The first one was, what if we're broke down on the side of the road? What does that look like for us? So I picked up the phone and I started calling. I called my insurance company, and I have insurance for the truck, insurance for the fifth wheel, and I have an extended warranty that covers tires and roadside assistance as well. I have more than one way to get off the side of the road. Might be slightly redundant, but I feel as though we bundled things together and we've got good resources without spending too much money. So I called the insurance company on their 1-800 roadside assistance number. Their customer service representative was great. First thing they're always going to want to know, are you safe? I said yes, and I'm just calling to confirm that I have coverage and what is a best practice that I can do if I was on the side of the road anticipating we're taking a very large trip soon. They explained my coverage to me. They shared what the limits were and how to best go about getting assistance and what they will do and how they will respond. Then I called the extended warranty. Now, because I purchased through Affinity RV, which is now Blue Compass, I got RV Complete. Now, I drove a hard bargain. I remember their first number they gave me, and I walked away, and after a while, the number came down to where my purchasing threshold was for the services that I needed and wanted. The RV Complete people with Blue Compass were fantastic. They took the time, since this wasn't a crisis, and it was Sunday morning, and they weren't busy with a high volume of calls, to build a profile on our account. This was excellent because now they know the length, the height, the weight, the specific tire requirements of our RV and our RV. And now, if I'm on the side of the road dealing with an emergency or a crisis, they don't have to ask all that to know the information that they may need. For example, I have tire coverage, and if they need to bring me a tire, they already know that I have the Goodyear 235 80R16 E-rated tires under here. That's a huge help, and that's good customer service. It's nice to know that ahead of time. When I was done making those calls to all those companies that support the RV, I made sure I labeled all of those numbers in my phone under the RV. So if I have to go and get service, I can go to my phone, I can go to my book that I built. I've got multiple places to access that information easily. Speaking of the book, we built a 3-ring binder that has all the information we need. It's got information with the registrations of the vehicles, our insurance, our extended warranties, all the contact information, service information, the original dealership paperwork where we purchased, etc., etc. Further down into here, I keep a log of all the places that we've been and all the information for the resorts, making it very easy to pull that back up. This is important because right now we're currently staying in an RV resort this winter, and I have paperwork that I'm adding to that, and I want it handy should we need to discuss details about cost and everything else. Towards the end, I put my quick reference guides from the manufacturer, so if I have questions about operation of the RV, something that I don't do frequently and I haven't developed the muscle memory, it's an easy find right here in the book. And finally, at the back of the book, we have all the information for our pets' vaccines and rabies. A lot of parks are going to require this, and it's nice to have it handy and current. So this is a great resource. However, in an accident or a crisis, this may be inside the RV and you may not be able to access it. So we've also taken time to photograph everything. We keep it on our phones and on our computers. We need to get it on all devices, so if for some reason I'm incapacitated, that my partner can get to that and be able to reference it quickly. It has been my experience working as a deputy sheriff and responding to hundreds of motor vehicle accidents. The first thing that gets lost in an accident is your cell phone. It's in a cup holder, a tray, and it goes flying. Sometimes we never found them after looking for an extended amount of time. Please keep that in mind when you're traveling. Maybe securing those phones in a container where they won't get lost, or at least having backups for those alternates, is a huge help. Another one of the big what-if questions we asked ourselves was navigation. So we're in an emergency. Maybe the vehicle's not on its side 80 miles from the nearest town after dark in bad weather. Maybe one of the two of you has a medical issue and is now incapacitated. In a lot of RV scenarios, there is a couple dynamic, and typically most couples work very hard to make sure that everybody is familiar with the basic operation of the RV and operating the vehicle, connecting the RV, and driving. That being said, it is also typical that one person or the other predominantly will do more of one activity than the other, developing that muscle memory and that frequency, making it first nature for them, whereas the other one can still get it done, but it's going to look different. We remember hearing a story last year about a couple that was on a day trip very far from the RV where they were parked, and the predominant driver and navigator had a serious medical issue and was hospitalized and incapacitated. The other person didn't have the front-loaded knowledge of how to get back to the RV park, how to navigate in a strange place after dark in bad weather, and it created a bit of a crisis. We incorporate redundant navigation, and we try to document and communicate the whole way through on our trips. Even if they're short 3 or 4 hour drives or multiple day trips where we're apart, we still communicate so that at any given time we have good information about where we're starting from, the planned route that we're taking, where we plan to end up, and when we expect to do that. I'm old school Gen X, so I still maintain a road atlas with paper maps as a good fail-safe. My favorite resource is the GPS dash camera. I like it because it doesn't rely on cell phone signals, so it works in very remote areas. Recently, I navigated through the Great Basin Highway in Nevada, past the Pahranagat Wildlife. You're 150 miles from a cell tower out there in some places. So you've got no cell service, but I had the satellite signal for the GPS. It also has a dash cam which can record and communicate to people in the event of an accident. You're not able to communicate. They can see exactly where you were, how fast you were going, what direction you were heading, and what the view that the camera has out the front of the vehicle typically. I utilize that resource many times in public safety, and it was a great help to reconstruct events. And what I liked most about our GPS unit is it has a feature where we've enabled breadcrumbs like Hansel and Gretel. So we can see where we've driven even if we haven't plotted in an exact route. Typically speaking though, we're very careful to mark the home location where we're staying. For example, this RV park, we have that marked in our addresses, and then if we're going to go somewhere, we'll punch in the address, and that way we have a record of everywhere we've traveled. Tongue in cheek, previously, before I was an RV owner, I marked home on my GPS unit the front door of the county jail. So if anyone ever stole my car and thought they were going to go to my house to rob me, it would take them straight to jail. Probably never going to happen, but it made me laugh. Additionally, another great what if was thinking about all of those products that we rely on and the manufacturers that make those and the service they have available. Take, for example, Lippert. They make my leveling system. Now, this system can give people fits. It's kind of perplexed me from time to time, and I'm still not as proficient with it as I'd like to be. But I've reached out to their customer service, I've created an account, and I have the app on my phone, and it's a great resource. It was kind of like my extended warranty people reminded me today that they have tech service available 24/7. So if you've got a question, instead of getting frustrated, lean on the tech service. Furthermore, there are warranties that you really should register for a lot of very expensive things that you've bought on your RV. I know a lot of people will boo-hoo the cost of a battle-born battery, but I've got 2 of them and they have yet to let me down, and they're supplying a lot of power through my solar system. Remember, solar doesn't run anything, just helps you charge your batteries if conditions are just right. Don't hesitate to ask yourself the what-if question. War game, scenario. Work your OODA loop. We've talked a lot about that in previous videos. I highly recommend you go back and look at it. That OODA loop, you observe, you orientate yourself to a situation, you make a decision, and you act. If you haven't rehearsed this, that OODA loop is going to be giant, and it's going to take you a long time to make good decisions in a crisis, and or you might find that you are unprepared. If you war game those and scenario those, your OODA loop gets very small, you get very quick, and it can really save you from having a bad experience with what is an inconvenience. Tires go flat. Problems happen with mechanical systems. There are navigation errors. All of that can and will happen. It's your ability to react to those and make good decisions, and the more you plan on that ahead of time, the better off you'll be. Gordon Graham would famously say, if it's predictable, it's preventable. Enough of me flapping my gums at you. Congratulations on your new RV purchase. I hope that your product makes you happy. I will remind you, slow down. Be gentle on the systems. Learn how they work. Ask questions. Utilize your resources. And have a good time. Use that RV. Enjoy the camp. I'm going to go out and griddle in bad weather. We're going to make some salmon with a parsnip and leek hash, garnished with some lion's mane mushrooms. Once I'm about to that 2/3 of where I want it cooked, we're going to hit it with a little Chardonnay. We're going to butter it, and then we're going to dress it right on top of the hash, which I feel confident taking off the griddle at this point. See what I love about these? You can carry without losing much. I'm an opportunist. It rained last night, so the park doesn't want us washing the rig here. Didn't say anything about wiping the rain off though, and kind of getting a little redneck car wash.